Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the March Angels Rest Blessing. My name is Patty Hegwood, and I'm really pleased to see you all today on this beautiful, windy spring day. Spring is definitely sprung, almost like on cue. And this brings me to mind the story of the Rainbow Bridge. And Rainbow Bridge, I don't know, somehow feels like a renewal for me in thoughts and in spirit. I did a quick search just to figure out, like, where did Rainbow Bridge come from? Because it has several different origins. And a Scottish artist and animal lover, Edna Klein Reiki, is widely believed to be the author of Rainbow Bridge, written in 1959 to commemorate her beloved dog, Major. The poem describes a peaceful meadow where pets are restored to health and happiness, waiting for their owners to join them and cross the Rainbow Bridge to the afterlife. Now, she initially kept the poem private, but shared typed copies with friends who were moved by the words and passed them on. And this eventually led to a wider circulation according to the order of the good death. Dear Abby actually printed it in its entirety, though it was unattributed. Now, while Klein Reiki is the most likely author, other individuals have claimed authorship or variations of the poem, including Paul C. Dam, a grief counselor, William Britton, author of Legend of Rainbow Bridge. Now here's where it gets fun. We go back into Norse mythology, and the concept of a rainbow bridge connecting realms may have been inspired by the Bifrost Bridge in Norse mythology, which is said to be a burning rainbow bridge between Earth and the realm of the gods, Asgard. Norse like to light everything on fire, if you remember that. And then there's Beautiful Joe's Paradise, the idea of a meadow where pets await their owners, and may have been influenced by Margaret Marshall Saunders' book, Beautiful Joe's Paradise, which depicts pets awaiting their owners in a grassland. So the reason I did this little quick search, I know we want to dig deeper into this, and we will be doing this in our Love Lives On, which you all will get instructions for how to join that particular programming. But I want to go back a little bit. Well, actually, I want to go to the way back. When you look at man's relationship with our animal companions, it's very interesting, the monuments and the dedication to mainly, cats and dogs, but also a variety of wildlife throughout history, where man has had a very close relationship with the animals that they've encountered. But also it speaks to that close relationship and the depth of hurt and the feelings that come when it's time to say goodbye. And that's where these monuments have been erected throughout history, through ancient civilizations. And we look at some of the religious implications, and if we take all the religion out of this, which I think we should, we look at our own belief systems on where do we go when we pass. Because regardless of whatever religion we subscribe to, basically, if we're of a certain age, we begin to ponder, what is there beyond this mortal coil? What is there when I leave? And this brings me to a place of hope. There's always, at least in my personal experience, a need for hope. Hope that at some point we will be reunited. Hope that at some point the animals in our lives also have an afterlife. There's a lot of debate. You remember all dogs go to heaven, right? There's a lot of debate on whether or not animals have souls and whether or not they go beyond their time here on earth. Well, the same question can be asked of us. Where do we go? So to me, when we look at our relationship and how deep that relationship actually is inspired by these thoughts, I tend to think that there's something there. And this, again, is my own personal belief, but I cannot, for the sake of me, think this is all there is. I just can't. So I'm going to read to you the initial version of Rainbow Bridge, and I want you to let these words really sink in for you. Just this side of heaven is a place called Rainbow Bridge. When an animal dies that has been especially close to someone here, your pet goes to Rainbow Bridge. There are meadows and hills for all of our special friends so they can run and play together. There's plenty of food, water, and sunshine, and friends are warm and comfortable. All the animals who have been ill and old are restored to health and strength. Those who were hurt are made better and strong again, like we remember them before they go to heaven. They are happy and content, except for one small thing. They each miss someone very special to them who had to be left behind. They all run and play together, but the day comes when one suddenly stops and looks into the distance. His bright eyes are shining, his body shakes. Suddenly he begins to run from the herd, rushing over the grass, his legs carrying him faster and faster. And when you and your special friend finally meet, you cuddle in a happy hug, never to be apart again. You and your pet are in tears. Your hands again cuddle his head, and you look again into his trusting eyes. So long gone from life, but never absent from your heart. And then you cross the Rainbow Bridge together. And what a glorious depiction that is. What a beautiful, hopeful, and inspiring thought that is. To know that you're met by all the animals who've touched your life, and that you all go together. I want that. I would love that. It's going to be a lot. That's okay. We'll all be together, right? So I just want you to think about it and think how hopeful and glorious that is as we enter into springtime, a renewal of thought, a renewal of our beliefs, as we come out from the cover of winter and the blossoms pop up from the earth and we're faced with yet another scorching summer. I hope not. But let's enjoy this spring while we have it.
Hello everybody, my name is Josh and I'm the manager here at Angels Rest. And at this part of the program, we will read through some of the names of the little guys we lost during this month here at the sanctuary. In Dogtown, we lost Elwood, Magpie, Aphrodite, Coronado, and La Jolla. In Cat World, we lost Percy and Larissa. In Wild Friends, we lost Alf the Hedgehog. And in Parrot Garden, we lost Phoebe, Yucca, Atlas, and Rose. And in Horses, we lost Hatta. Now for the tributes sent in, we sent some were sent in for Ben, Bala, Attila, and Jasper, Wally, Rosie, Libby, and Bluebell, Fergus, Alice, Lana, Broxton, Bunny and Cat Lubbers, Rango, Vivian, Lucy, Charlie, Boots, Penny, and Kaylee, Leslie Stannard, Lucy, Sadie, Major, Obi-Wan, Norman, Josie, Misty, and Foos. Now we had some stories sent in as well. This first one I'll read is from Jasmine. Jasmine, Jazzy, meaning gift from God, is a perfect way to describe my Jasmine. Very short but very purposeful and fulful life. Jasmine was a joy to everyone she met. She would love to happily ride in the car with her big sister dog Molly, walk on a leash in the pet store, go to the Tractor Supply store, or just to love sunbathing in the window, purring endlessly. People would just stop us to be completely amazed at this little kitten who was just so happy and friendly. Her love had no limits. You couldn't help but be mesmerized by her sweet spirit and nature. Jasmine's favorite toy that she loved to play with was her rainbow wand toy. You could be anywhere in the house, twirl it about, and she would come running so fast to play. She would carry it around everywhere with her, and it was bigger than her. I cherished my curtain. She played with me and made pools in the material with her frisky stage. Jasmine put more pep in the senior dog's step. Jasmine loved that each time Molly came inside from doing a potty, she would sit and wait for it and to get a treat. They really made the best duo. Jasmine made herself comfortable so quickly in our home. She would fit right in, and she was just meant to be like she was just always here with us. I knew my family was finally complete with my two amazing girls living in harmony. This is what I dreamt of. From the first night, I said that 2 hours with Jazzy felt like 2 weeks. 2 weeks felt like 2 months, and 2 months felt like 2 years together with her. Jasmine's date that she passed just so happened to be 2/22. I treasured every moment with Jasmine. I felt so extremely lucky to have her in our lives. It's a very unique experience, unlike anything I've ever imagined. The bond Jasmine and I had was very strong. When Jasmine got suddenly sick with the heartbreaking FIP virus, things progressed extremely fast. What was once my very playful kitten, she became very tired and weak, and she didn't have enough energy even for her kitten antics. She still fought so hard with an intensive treatment plan, mainly daily syringe feedings and several medications. Jazzy still gave so much love and always laid on my neck snuggling to get warm and was always purring. The love that she gave us was so pure, and you could tell she was always thankful. It was truly the most heartbreaking virus to watch a baby suffer through. I don't want to remember my sweet Jasmine that way, but I do want to be an advocate for this terrible FIP and awareness in Jasmine's memory. It was a huge honor to love her, and to know that she chose me to live out her days with as a caregiver. As much as I long to see her again and miss her so deeply, I am glad that she is at peace and no longer suffering. I am so heartbroken that my Jasmine is not with me on earth, but I take much comfort knowing that she is always with me in my heart, and she is now at peace. She is my forever kitten angel over me for the rest of my days.
Hi, my name is James, and I am a caretaker here at Angels Rest, and I'd like to share 2 more stories with you. First, Sadie. We met Sadie while volunteering at Best Friends in the Fairway at Dogtown in 2012. We wanted to take a dog for an overnight visit, and the staff suggested we take Sadie because her roommate had been adopted and she was missing him. We took her back to our room for an overnight. That night, our instant connection was made and our lives forever changed for the better. Sadie came to live with us in her forever home in September 2012. She passed away 12 and a half years later. Sadie was an amazingly beautiful girl inside and out. She took such good care of us and gave us so much love, adventure, kindness, confidence, understanding, sensitivity, joy, and laughter. Sadie's presence and spirit were felt by everyone that she met. We made so many special human and dog friends through Sadie, who have become our family. Especially close and important is Shannon, who was Sadie's dog walker and sitter and very best friend. Shannon has added so much life and love to our family and provided Sadie with an extraordinary amount of fun, love, adventure, and doggy friends. Sadie touched so many people. Our friend Jeanette described our life with Sadie as us having had the most wonderful, magical life filled with love, happiness, and adventure. Our friend Gabe said Sadie's humor, spirit, love, and intelligence were always on display. Sadie, you will always be a part of us. We will always remember your love and soulful heart. We miss you very much. Nose kiss, big hug. Now Elwood. It is with a heavy heart that we share the news that we had to say goodbye to best friends Elwood last Monday. Despite being sharp as a tack and full of spirit, his body had been failing him for the last several months. After much heartache, we made the incredibly difficult but most compassionate decision to let Elwood cross peacefully. Finding the words to capture his life and the impact he had on those who loved him proved impossible, so we're sharing this as our best attempt to honor him. Elwood was one of the first ones to greet us when we arrived in the morning. Elwood came to us from a shelter in Wisconsin, where he had escaped after being frightened by an industrial garbage truck and a storm. The community rallied behind him to bring him back after 48 hours. He'd been hiding under a man's porch, and it took a village and lots of treats to get him to come out. After that, he was so terrified of the world, he would not leave his little run to go outside. The people who loved Elwood wanted to give him a chance to live a full life, so they reached out to best friends. Elwood arrived in December of 2013. Beyond his love for food and treats, Elwood had a remarkable ability to make everyone around him feel special. His protective nature and quick wit kept us all on our toes, but it was his gentle soul, and especially with puppies, that truly showed the depth of his character. His journey from a fearful dog to a confident, cherished companion was a testament to the love he received from his caregivers and friends. Elwood was so good with other dogs and lived with many throughout his time here. He also loved nose work and would spend all day in Tara's run if we let him. He was such a special dog to his caregivers. We met him where he was, but also continued to try and find new forms of enrichment. Elwood was also a favorite with the volunteers, who were lucky enough to get to know him over the years. If you were one of his people, he loved you and all your treats. Elwood had so many fans, it's hard to name them all. In the last 2 years alone, our local volunteers, Beverly and Mindy, worked with him at least once a week. Mike, Mark, and Kim and Denny visited him often too. Jan and Sandy spoiled him as they helped him with his hydrotherapy and laser appointments. 2 of the volunteers who loved Elwood from afar were Robin and Susan. Robin was one of the people who drove Elwood from Wisconsin to the sanctuary. She and 2 others drove straight through the night so that he would not have to go into a scary hotel room. Susan met Elwood when he was brand new to the sanctuary and continued to send many treats and personalized Elwood gifts to him throughout the years. Whenever they saw him in person, neither Robin nor Susan could ever believe how far Elwood had come. With tears of joy in their eyes, they marveled at how unrecognizable he was from the fearful dog he had once been. They simply could not believe he was the same pup. They credit best friends and the people who loved him with helping Elwood go from a shy, fearful dog who was terrified of the world to being such a happy, confident, good boy. His giant presence was due to more than his large stature. He had so much personality and was never shy about asking for more and more and more treats. He was a funny boy who was so smart he kept us on our toes. He could do so many tricks we asked for and many more we didn't, like open gates, doors, latches, and squeeze through tiny spaces. He was such a big, boisterous boy until we had storms. Even as an old man, he would go into the corner on his bed to try to hide. It was one of the few times we could go in with him and sit next to him and just pet him and tell him everything was going to be okay. Elwood was loved more than he could ever have imagined, and he will be missed even more. He had the best last few days ever. He had many visitors and did FaceTime calls with Jessie C. and Robin. His dream of unlimited food finally came true as the people who loved him brought him treats. Elwood crossed peacefully with a full belly, surrounded by people who will love him forever.
My name is Karen, and I am a local volunteer in Horsehaven. And today I'm going to talk to you about this fine girl. Her name is Hada. So come with me for a few minutes, and I'm going to describe a few things about her life and her time here at Horsehaven in Best Friends. On February 28th, we lost a wonderful older horse named Hada. She was almost 32 years old, and she'd been here only for about a year and a half. Soon after she arrived, I started to visit her 4 times a week. I took her out for walks when the weather allowed, usually with her paddock mates and visitor volunteers, but sometimes solo. And I groomed her and fussed over her and gave her snacks, just like the dog. They do like snacks. And I did my best to massage her aching and arthritic limbs to help her feel better. And I worried about her when she had months of eye issues last summer. Dozens of volunteer visitors got to join the walks and the loving and the fussing, and wow, I will really miss her. She had a kind of a heavy feel to her, in part due to her breed. She was a Rush Creek Arabian, which is a type of Arabian. Arabians are usually known for being very sleek and graceful, but those from Rush Creek in Nebraska are bred to be better at endurance and especially good at trail riding. Her formal registered name was Rush Creek Hada. The manager of Horsehaven, Jen Reed, who also works on horses' hooves, said that Hada was one of her very first clients many, many years ago, and that Hada has been loved her whole life. I am so grateful we were able to share her and love her for what turned out to be her last year. Hada actually came to Horsehaven twice. She first came in 2021 and was soon adopted out to a person who was living in the Apple Valley area. And they spent happy time at the ranch and on riding trails. Unfortunately, Hada developed an issue with choking, which in horses is an emergency, as they cannot throw up. And her person did not feel as though there was a vet close enough if there was an emergency, so she was returned to Horsehaven. When she first arrived, she was placed in the back half of a paddock whose front half had Little Joe, a much older gelding, Snickers, a 36-year-old gelding Shetland pony, and Helen, a blind Arabian mare. After Little Joe crossed the Rainbow Bridge in January of 2024, Hada was brought to the front to live with the others. Snickers immediately let Hada know that he would be the boss, and she immediately said back to him, "No, I don't think so." And then after about 2 hours of squealing and kicking and chasing each other back and forth and pinning the ears, Hada won. That was Hada. And on walks, Hada always went first, in part because of her status in the hierarchy, and in part because even at her age, she moved along at a really good pace. Unless one of the others got too close to her and she felt the need to tell them to back off, she was generally gentle and amiable towards them. Because of her issue with choking, she no longer got regular hay to eat, instead getting what they call a mush bucket 3 times a day. It has soaked hay pellets and other nutritional supplements in it, just as Snickers and Helen would get for their own reasons. She still tried to grab a mouthful of hay if we happened to pass by a loose pile of it on our walks, but she adapted. Every morning as the truck with the buckets arrived, Helen would speed up her circling of the back shed, Snickers would whinny, and Hada would hold up her tail and run to her feed stall. She always wanted breakfast and lunch and dinner and snacks, if you please. And that was what told us something was wrong. As the truck drove up in the morning, Hada lay down. And while there had been some concern with Hada being able to get herself off the ground, we know that she'd successfully done it a couple days earlier because we saw it. But this day, she only kind of made half-hearted attempts. The staff member who saw it alerted the team. I was there and I came over. The manager, Jen, came over and she took Hada's vital signs. Her temperature was low, and you could just hear and see that she was having spurts of labored breathing as she lay on the ground. The other staff joined in what became a vigil. A consideration of her behavior and her vitals and her symptoms pointed to experiencing some kind of a colic, which is a general word for some kind of a digestive issue. And we could all tell that something was very, very wrong. She was in great distress. The low temperature suggested that her system was already in shock, and it was more than possible that there was going to be no recovery from this. So with great respect and care, she was eased across the Rainbow Bridge, and I miss her so much. I have a small handful of Medalist hay pellets, which were her favorite snacks, at home in a bowl. They were turned out from a pocket of jeans that day, and haven't been able to part with them since, even though every time I see them, I remember her, and I laugh and I cry at the same time. We were also very blessed to have this dear old lady. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being with Hada.
Incredible stories. Thank you all so much for sharing, and for those of you at home who've shared your wonderful stories of great connection and love and that enduring bond that we have with the animals with whom we share our lives. I heard mischievous, intelligent, joyful, loving, kind, all these just wonderful descriptions of how our lives intertwine and are meshed with our animal companions. It's no wonder that we can't even fathom a world where we are not reunited at some point. That there is this thread of love and commitment and devotion that travels through these relationships, that it's unbreakable. And that's where the hope is. It's truly unbreakable. It says a lot for you wonderful folks here and those of you at home. I can't imagine a world or a lifetime where I don't have different intersections throughout my life of all those heartbeats in my home, sharing all those moments. I can't imagine it, and I never will, just like you. So I found something to wrap us up today called Beyond the Rainbow, a Place of Light. Beyond the rainbow, a place of light where weary souls find rest tonight. A meadow green, a gentle breeze, where happy pets run through the trees. No more the pain, the ache, the fear, just endless joy, crystal clear. Their bodies healed, their spirits bright, they greet the dawn with pure delight. The rainbow bridge, a path so grand, to join their humans hand in hand. With wagging tails and happy cries, they meet their loved ones in the skies. So let the tears of sorrow cease, and know your pets find endless peace. They wait for you across the bridge in a world where love will never flinch. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will talk to you soon. Until then, be well. Take care.